Hello everyone, hope you're having a wonderful night. So Project Eve, this was a game that was revealed back in 2021. It's basically a high-octane hack-and-slash sci-fi game, a lot like Devil May Cry, and it appeals to people like me who like those types of games. Now, the controversy or the non-arguments that came in were the fact that the main protagonist looked like an exceptionally beautiful woman, and it was like, this is an unrealistic body standard, and we'll get into that. And what kind of flagshipped this type of argument came from Digital Foundry's Alex, and I'm going to play the clip in its entirety so you get the foundation of my argument here.
In not a good way, because with the camera angles chosen, it just felt like this game seems like a game that came out in like 002 in terms of its, character design. It's like a bit old and not flattering, I don't think, for a modern audience. In comparison to something like Forspoken, which has, yes, it has much more realistic looking character designs. It's not these hyper proportioned something or another's, but it also seemed, a bit more grounded in a way that I found much more appealing than from a bygone era. I do think the character model was actually very distracting.
So there's a lot of things to unwrap with that argument. First off, appeal to a specific character is subjective. A lot of people have different things of which they find appealing when it comes to a protagonist, but the fact that he says that this character is distracting and the main protagonist of Forspoken, Faye, is not. Now, this is Faye, and I know a lot of people don't like this game. I'm one of the rare people who did like the game. I thought it had great potential, but they kind of the story just didn't come together. But again, you can roast me for that, but looking at Faye, she's an exceptionally beautiful woman. Yeah, her personality is kind of trash, but she is a beautiful woman. And looking at Faye and the main protagonist of Stellar Blade, I literally can't see that much of a difference in terms of body proportion because they kind of have the same figure. Am I looking at two different characters? Because look at them. They look both exceptionally beautiful women, and Faye is based off a real person, Ella Balinski, who is also a very beautiful woman. And I'm going to get more into this because there is a conspiracy theory, and I say conspiracy theory, it's more like, I would say, an individual argument. I like to make things on an individual level rather than blanket everything together, that Western developers are uglifying their female characters. And I wouldn't say they're all doing it. There are a few examples that I'll get into, but one of the most infamous examples would be Aloy from Horizon. So on the right, you can see Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn. This is when she's 19. I don't know how old she is in Forbidden West, but she's a bit older, so her face got a little rounded. You can see here, but I think this is a really healthy evolution of the character, considering that this is her during the beginning of her training. She just got into everything that was about to transpire in Zero Dawn, and she got a lot more muscled, stronger, all that, so it makes sense that she would be a little rounder and a lot more bigger in that sense. But that's just my opinion and how I saw it. Another example would be Nicole from Dead Space. Now, I think the new model for Nicole is actually a lot more better in terms of context, because Nicole is a senior medical officer, and when you look at a character, this is the original design, this is from Dead Space Extraction, but this is one of the better examples of her character model. She looks like she's 19 years old. She does not look like a senior medical officer. If you looked at this person, you would think that they just got out of medical school or in medical school, as opposed to this, where she does look like a senior medical officer, someone who's gone through school, residency, climbed the ranks, and eventually became one of the top members of the Ishimura. So I actually think this design is better. Granted, they did make Isaac a lot younger, so it was kind of flip-flopped. So not sure what happened there, but regardless, I do think that this is actually, it makes sense. But then you have the Fable argument. Now, on the right side, you see, this is one of the more infamous examples, and this is something I just can't argue against. Because on the right side, you see the character model, and on the left side, you see the model that they modeled the character after. And yeah, someone had to go in and fuck this up so much to make it look like that. You can't argue against this right here, because what the hell? They did her dirty so bad here. On this example, I would absolutely agree with you. Someone decided to do this. And if I was her, I would be incredibly angry about this, because, yeah, look at that. This makes no sense. And, well, the developers, like, I was going to get right into it. So you remember when he said, like, it's an unrealistic character model when it came to the main character of Stellar Blade? I don't know if her name is Stellar Blade. Tell me if I'm right or wrong on that, or if it's just a character name. It's a real person. So it's the body of the main protagonist is modeled after the Korean model Shin Jun-un. I hope I'm saying that correctly. My best friend, one of my close friends, Esther, is Korean, so hopefully she'll just get angry at me about that. She watches my videos, but yeah. It's based off a real person. This is them taking 3D models of her body to be used in the main character. So in this case, Digital Foundry was 100% incorrect. This is a real person. Granted, she is a model. Like, look, a model is just a different type of bodybuilder. They do have to go through extensive physical, like, training. They have to have regulated diets, exercise, everything. So it's still, like, something like a normal person wouldn't be able to look like this. But nevertheless, it is a real person. So that entire argument that this body is unrealistic goes out the window when it is a real person. I mean, again, it is a model and not an everyday person is going to look like that, but hey, everyday people who fight cybernetic monsters aren't going to look like you or me. They're going to look like this, I guess. But yeah, it's like saying like Marcus Phoenix, unrealistic standard, Master Chief, unrealistic standard, Tifa Lockhart, unrealistic standard, Beatrix from Final Fantasy IX, unrealistic standard. So at their core, they're just fantasy characters. I mean, people want to put themselves in the shoes of these characters, and I don't think anyone wants to play as themselves. I certainly don't want to. I'm a 130-pound, 34-year-old man. I don't want to be fighting the locusts. I would die in half a second. But in this case, it just gives more ammo for a lot of people to basically hurl at, the naysayers that this is unrealistic. You can see here. So, yeah. Another thing is that it just adds more fuel to this flame because, again, what Alex said from Digital Foundry, I think is a non-argument because his argument is so flimsy based on the fact that Faye is an exceptionally beautiful woman who has the same body like, the model, literally like the model from Korea. So it kind of just falls flat on that. And overall, this is my argument for this. Developers should be allowed to make whatever game they want. Allow them to develop the artistic vision that they want. For example, when Quiet from Metal Gear Solid 5 was given like a lot of flack because of the way she looked, granted there is a lore reason behind it. It's because she's treated with parasites and she can't eat normally, so she consumes nutrition through photosynthesis, so that's why she wears as little clothes as possible. Or in the case of Nier, but in Nier's situation, Yoko Taro just says that he likes beautiful women, that's why he does it, despite the fact that he does create elaborate lore of why 2B looks the way that she does. But, yeah. In this case, I just thought it was a really big non-argument. Just let the character be whatever the developers think that the character should be. Are there going to be people who develop exceptionally beautiful women for the sake of shock value or appeal certain audiences to their game? Absolutely. That's always going to exist. But at the same time, you don't have to play the game. Like, if you think that's what the case is, then you don't have to play it. I mean, look at Genshin Impact. I mean, look at Honkai Star Rail. Like, it's nothing new. But in this case, it does seem like they're trying to create a very good game, and they decided to take basically the smoking gun and say, nope, this is a real person, so can everyone just cool it that this is unrealistic in so many ways? But either way, let me hear your argument in the comments below. I'd love to hear what other people think in this situation. I'd love to hear other people's opinions and see it from different points of view. But to me, as I stated, this is a non-argument. If the game is good, I'll play it, I'll enjoy it, and then I'll make a review about it. If it's crap, I'll say it's crap and just say for what it is. I hope the character does have a good personality though. Like nothing like Faye. Faye was just a very, very unlikable person. So hopefully this one is a little likable and she goes through a little more of a hero's journey and more of a evolution of the character. Have some sort of gray area and evolve from there. But that's just my opinion. Like, dislike, your choice. Subscribe if you want to go the extra mile. That's it for me. Bye.